Hey everybody, this is Brad Dyke. This is my financial recommendation video. I do these videos to help people learn how to use their money more effectively, as I've had to learn in getting all this stuff that I've got. I don't do it because I'm like accumulate stuff, because I actually keep it very low in quantity, but it matters, basically. So today we're going to talk about project money. Now, project money is kind of tricky, right? Let's say you have an annuity out there from an inheritance that you got, and it only pays out like once a year, and you get $1,000 or something like that. Well, to me, that's project money. That money can go into a small little checking account, and I keep it separated and away from everything else, because this is your limit, right? So with that being the case, how do I budget things out? How do I make these videos? How do I correlate with the stuff I buy versus the stuff I present? Well, first things first, you have a lot of the stuff already. So you're actually only spending money on the things that usually are the topic. For instance, you bought an old chassis that you really adore and love, like I did with that Dell 3600. It was cheap, it was $100, but the results were great. And I still have that chassis, and it works awesome, and it does all types of stuff for me. I reused it. So that works. But how do you do that? I mean, how do you figure that out? Well, okay, let's start this with, hey, I want to do a project. Let's say it's for a car or a computer, like a server. You want to build your own NAS server for a house. But let's stick with cars for now. When you're dealing with a car project, like if you're going to rebuild an engine or you're reconditioning a car, let's say an engine for now, because I'm dealing with that right now. I have a 6-straight inline engine in this garage that my son got for $150, and he's got $700 worth of components to it, or he has a $1,500 engine if he chooses to recondition it. But how do you get there? Good question. Here it is. In a nutshell, start a ledger and start what we call parts tracking sheet. Now, these are two things that work side by side. One line item owns to another item straight across. What is the part? Let's say it's a vacuum regulator, and the vacuum regulator might have a cost involved. So you have to do some research, and you find out, okay, if I recondition this vacuum regulator and get it healthy again and usable, and it's specifically for this vintage engine, how much does it cost in the industry to buy it? Well, $80, $90. Okay, $80 or $90 to sell it. Track it that way. Regulator, if I just sold it once I fixed it, $90. Okay, great. Get an average. Do at least 3 surveys per part. When you've done that, then you look, what will it take for me to fix it? Well, you have to kind of take it apart. Might have to replace a rubber membrane or something like that. Okay, what are the parts to replace that, and what does it cost? Well, $5. That's how it works, by the way. So as you're looking at these parts and you're going to make a decision, do I just sell the engine as a fully working engine with recycled parts that I reinvested in? Do I just want to sell the block raw, like a metal frame for somebody to do a project with themselves? Or do I just sell all the parts off and make $200 or $300? Well, once you've done the math on that ledger and you know all the parts that are involved, you're going to be able to find out very quickly that if you recondition the engine, you got yourself a $4,000 or $5,000 or $6,000 item in your possession. Because inline straights are rare. They're in the Chevy Novas, if you're ever curious about which cars are Chevy-related trucks in the 1974, 76 years. So with that being said, you created a profit versus investment chart. This tells you how you're going to make the decision, do it go any further or not. At this point stage, if it's really low, you can say, well, I'm either going to do it because I love it and I want it, or I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just sell it as is and just break it down and put the least amount of investment in it. Like, for instance, throw everything away but the block in the head, as a good example, if they're in good shape. And then at that point stage, move forward. The bottom line is, with that, of course, at the same time, you also will have the other side of the fence, and that is, wow, man, if I get this thing up and running, at least normal running, I could sell it for $5,000. About $150, you got about $200-$300 in investment in it. Without heavy investment or over modification, you can get some real money from it. So at that point stage, you have your decider. It tells you, I'm going to do this, this, or this. It's 3 steps. With that being the case, how do you do that? Well, what you do is you go to your $1,000 that you got set aside, and you take that $250 and realize that you're going to have to break some of these things out as they're done. And they'll do that with you. They'll break it down with you and everything. Vendors and so on who are going to either sell you the parts, or the mechanics who are going to either bore the diameter of the pistons, or they're going to clean the engine for you with their special cleaning processes, or polish it up like the head. You want to put it into some type of conditioning so it's healthy. I reached down here to grab this real quick for the pause. The other part is you. All right, this screwdriver and you. Thousands of dollars of saved costs right there. 90% of the expenses we incur with automobile industries is related to the fact of labor. Or as they say, whatever you put in, you might as well times it by 2, because that's what they're going to charge you. It's correct. 100% correct, because I know that, because I support that industry. And they don't say, hey, we don't fix it for you, and you move on. The next guy's going to do the same thing. They just kind of toe the line. But if you do the work yourself, no, they don't like that, but that's okay. If they can at least sell you the part, that's fine. You're one of them, more like them than you are the other side of the fence. At that point stage, this tells you that your labor, which is the bigger part of this equation, versus your expense, and how do you work those together. You set up what we call either a spreadsheet, and you want to put vendors, your expenses, the part reference, which will go to your ledger, and you'll be able to just check these things off one at a time. And this particular spreadsheet is the one that tells you when to spend money and when not to spend money. And you can do this with any project, especially with servers, Intel-based server platforms. You can create brand spanking new servers just by buying RMA surplus components that were once stored in a warehouse for so many years until they stopped making it. And now they just flood the market with the spare parts. But you can make brand spanking new servers, never used, no real time on them. There's no worn fans or anything. But you still have to create the ledger and the part numbers and all of that, and then the spreadsheet to identify what kind of costs you're going to put into getting these parts to make your server work, like I have done several projects myself. But either way, this is how I do this, because I don't raise any money on YouTube. I have no vendor sponsorship. Don't want it. I'm agnostic. That means my word is just my word. And it has value and it doesn't. And if it has value and adds value to your work, then this is great for you. I suggest that you take a little bit of the wisdom I give you and let you have some fun with your hobbies. This is applicable to anything from calming ceramics to having a sewing shop. It's your passion, it's your love. Do it, in my opinion. And you don't have to do it full time, just do it on the side. If you can turn it into a business, great. And if you can retire doing it, even better. We got to have something to do when we retire, right? Because if all you got is some money and time on your hands, you're going to be dead in 10 to 5 years because you're idle. And idle bodies don't do well. They have to have a focus. They have to have a goal. Well, this is Brad Dyke. This is just a small little financial recommendation on how to start pet projects into real spending money and do it right. God bless and take care and have a great week. Bye-bye.